Kia ora everyone, welcome to this map video. In this relaxing ASMR show and tell session, I will talk to you about some of my recent travels and will tell you where I'm going to go in September. So first of all, I wanted to show you the map that will give you a little bit more understanding of where is New Zealand in relation to the rest of the world. So this map shows the part of the world that is called Oceania, and here we have a little bit of Indian Ocean and some of the places in China and Russia. And I just wanted to show you some of the features of the map as well. For example, this dotted line shows the equator, and this is a northern hemisphere part of the world, and this is southern hemisphere. So seasons are flipped in the southern hemisphere. So when you have summer in here, we have winter in this part of the world. But of course, it depends on where you are. The winter can be almost non-existing if you are somewhere in here, or mild if you are in New Zealand or on the southern coast of Australia. And some of you know that recently I traveled to Japan to undergo an internship with an organization that is called Hiroshima Peace Culture Foundation, and we were talking about different peace initiatives. And I had to go from New Zealand to Japan for this internship. Another very important thing to notice on the map are other dotted lines that are quite relevant to what I'm going to tell you next. So here you can see those dotted lines going in very random, sometimes, directions. Here there are not many of them, but there will be other maps that will show more of them. And those dotted lines, they represent different time zones. And I was lucky because the time difference between New Zealand and Japan is only 3 hours. Although it was winter in New Zealand, it was summer in Japan, but the time difference was only 3 hours. And you can see that it is not even as far as, for example, Europe or United States. However, the seasons were opposite. And so to go to Japan, I had to travel quite a lot, just only because we didn't have direct flights at that time, and I had to travel through several cities. And here I put a dot to show you where I live. So I live on the top of the South, we call it, top of the South Island. So from this dot, I had to travel to Auckland. That is the biggest city of New Zealand, just like so. And then from Auckland, I had to travel to Sydney. So I traveled to Australia, and from Australia, I traveled to Tokyo, and from Tokyo, I traveled to Hiroshima. That took me quite a while and several planes to go. So there was something like that. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know where it is exactly. And then I went to somewhere here in Japan. It was the capital of Japan, Tokyo. Somewhere here, and then from this point I had another flight to travel to Hiroshima. I was really grateful that they bought me flights through Australia because I love this country, and when I was flying over Sydney it was nighttime, and Sydney is so beautiful at nighttime with so many lights. And I also saw the Sydney Opera House in a very beautiful lighting just behind the harbour bridge. It was very, very beautiful. And this is the way I traveled to Hiroshima, and the same way I took to travel back. However, on my way back, I didn't go to Auckland instead. I went to Wellington, that is the capital of New Zealand. So I flew in here somewhere to Wellington, and maybe just somewhere here from Sydney, and then back to Nelson, where I live now. Alright, now I have another map to show you. So last year, maybe some of you remember that I went to the islands in the Pacific Ocean, and those islands are very popular in New Zealand, a very popular holiday destination in New Zealand but also in Australia. So during winter time, many people travel to the islands because it is, although winter, as you can see here, we have equator that separates both hemispheres, and all those islands are located also in the southern hemisphere, just like so. And it is winter on the islands, same as in New Zealand. However, they are located closer to the equator, which means that they have much warmer temperature at the same time. But also, winter season is the dry season for islands, and that means that the sea is clear and it is very nice to go snorkeling and see coral reefs and coral fish. Here I also wanted to point out those vertical lines, and as I said, sometimes they are very random, like this, for example. Those vertical lines separate different time zones, And they also show, especially this one, shows the separation, the major separation. So basically, the time starts from here and it goes like this, and then it goes around the globe and comes back here. That means that between this city where I live and this island where I went is the difference of 1 day. Although they are so close, there are only maybe 6 hours away, or maybe even less. I think maybe 5 hours away, but there is a day, 1 day difference because of this line. So what happens is that New Zealand greets the sun, one of the first countries. There is Chatham Island in New Zealand here that is even ahead of New Zealand. And then sun goes around the globe and light up the entire world. Country after country after country. And then the day comes to the islands. They are last to greet the sun. We have already lived 1 day in New Zealand, and the islands will be just starting their day. So when we traveled to the islands, it was very difficult to book accommodation because of that time difference. Had to be very careful because you buy flights and it's 1 day, but then you arrive here and it's another day. So you need to book your accommodation knowing what day it is. Because this island is just a little dot in the ocean, it is really nothing from what you can see at the moment, right? I wanted to show you the bigger scale map to show you the island. So let's change the map. This is the tiniest island. Maybe not the tiniest, but very tiny island in the Pacific Ocean that is called Rarotonga, and it is part of Cook Islands. So here is the airport, and this is where we arrived when we came to Rarotonga. The island is very small, so you can go around the island in about 1 hour. There is just one road all along the coast, and there are some smaller roads where many local people live. So if you have a look at those little connections to the main road, and if we had a satellite view, you would have seen that there are so many houses just here all along those little streets. The biggest area, the biggest settlement is over here near to the airport, and here you have a lot of boats coming in, boats and other vessels that bring goods into the country, into this island. And here is the only supermarket on the island that has some food items and other things to buy. There are other shops, of course, but not many. Little shops where you can buy some simple food. Maybe you can buy bread or some canned food. Or maybe sometimes you can find cheese or salami, but it is not guaranteed. You can always buy water or drinks in any of those little shops. And what is it here in the middle of the island? So, if we have all the settlements around, what is all of that place? These are mountains and forests, and obviously you can see a lot of rivers. The mountains are very beautiful, and one of the best natural attraction for the island is Te Rua Manga. Manga mean mountains, Te Rua usually in Maori, Rua means two, but in Cook Island it may mean something else, so I wouldn't translate it for you because the language is a little bit different from Maori, Te Reo Maori. However, in English it is known as the needle because it has this big, very, very narrow. There are some chains that allow you to climb on top of that peak, and Yaro, my husband, did that. I just only went halfway through because I was too scared to go down, so I knew that it will be very scary for me to go down. That's why I just found a very nice spot where I could just hang out and see the beautiful view of the entire island, and there were some amazing birds flying around, the birds that I've never seen before, very beautiful seabirds and parrots. Those seabirds, they actually had the tail like so, and like long feathers going like this from the tail feathers. Very beautiful. And we had our accommodation somewhere around here, I think. We could travel by bus. There is a bus that goes one way and another way, so the bus that just go like this. So you actually need to know which bus you are waiting for. And here the island is surrounded by coral reef. You can see the separation of light blue and dark blue. So you can see it here and here more, and a little bit over here. Here you can see that there are some passages for the boats to come through. They actually destroyed the reef in this area to allow for the boats to come. There are some other sections on the island where the barrier reef has been just destroyed to allow for some boats to come in. What I like about the reef is that it creates naturally calm waters where you can swim like in a pool. The water is very clear and the coral reefs are vibrant and colorful. We lived in a hotel where we can just go out on the beach and start snorkeling right away. We had kayaks in the hotel that we could hire for free and go everywhere we wanted. Everywhere we wanted to explore, we could go on a kayak, stop at the beach, have some nice time, go for a swim, go for a snorkel, and continue on. So that was an amazing experience for us. That barrier reef in some places, as I said, has the break. And if you want to go to Rarotonga, you need to have a look where those breaks are and make sure to avoid those places with the breaks, because the water from the ocean comes in and it muddles the waters inside of the reef, so the clarity is not that great in those locations. Also look for the rivers and don't buy accommodation, don't pay for accommodation that is close to rivers, for the same reason, because if you had a rainfall somewhere in the mountains, the waters will bring some particles of sand and other residue that will muddy the water, so it won't be as nice as in those places where you don't have the breaks in the reef. Also, very good to know that it is always noisy, because that barrier reef separates the island from the ocean, and the ocean is constantly breaking into this reef, creating constant noise. But it's a nice noise, it's a very gentle one, it's like a lullaby, to be honest. Even at night you always hear this whisper, but quite intense whisper of the ocean. So far, this island has been, I think, my best holiday, only because of the white sandy beaches and the opportunity to snorkel in the transparent, beautiful, calm waters. That island was very clean, there was no plastic on the beach, water is a good quality and food is a good quality. So you are not going to get sick on that island. I cannot recommend it enough. That was an amazing holiday. So now, to finish off this map video, I want to tell you where we are going in September. First, I will show you this location on a big map. Alright, now I am showing you again New Zealand, half of Australia, and another island that we're going to travel to, Fiji. Just in here you have several, actually quite a lot of islands that form one group of islands and one country that is called Fiji. Here you can see that the line that separates the time zones, that indicates where the days start, is here, and Fiji is on this side of the line, which means that we have the same time with Fiji and the same day. Whatever we have in Nelson here where I live, there will be the same exactly on Fiji. Though that was very easy to book accommodation and to book our flights, because we knew exactly when we are going to arrive, what day it will be, and what accommodation we need to book. Now I'm going to show you those islands on a bigger map. Look at how many islands are in this country. Fiji is a very interesting country. There are a lot of Indian population. I am not aware of the history in details, but there were a lot of people from Sri Lanka and India sent to Fiji to work when India was colonized by UK. And that's why we have population called Indian Fijian. And of course, there is a native population in Fiji, similar to all other Pacific islands. They have similar culture and very similar language to Te Reo Maori. However, they also speak Hindi in these islands. Our accommodation is somewhere around here, I think, and the airport is here. So Nadi is the city where we're going to arrive. Remember how I showed you the Rarotonga? That was one island that you can circle around in almost 1 hour. Fiji is much bigger island, especially the main island, and there are several cities in Fiji. For example, to get from Nadi to this area here, like so, will probably take 2.5 hours. So it is a much bigger island, but look at how many smaller islands there are. And all of those islands are available either by plane or by boat. So I am not sure what exactly we're going to do, but I will do another video about our travel after we come back. But now I can only tell you that we are planning to explore as much as possible because Fiji offers so many things in terms of nature and culture. That's why I'm so excited to go there. Of course, I will be sharing my pictures while I'm on Fiji, and I will tell you when, so you can join my social media to follow my travels. But for now, this is the final map, and I'm going to finish off this point and tell map ASMR video. And I want to tell you guys, go and have a very relaxing time now, and I hope you are going to have really nice and refreshing sleep. And I will see you very, very soon.